becoming normal practice for NHS hospitals in England. The National Audit Office says that measures other than the extra funding that's been promised by the government may be needed to get trusts back to financial stability of some sort. Well, Rob Webster is the Chief Executive of the NHS Confederation, which represents NHS trusts. Do you, first of all, do you accept that idea that running a deficit is normal?
I don't think it's normal or desirable. I think it's becoming a position that's found all too often in trusts.
Right, but when I say normal, I mean it is happening, and it's happening routinely now.
The findings of this report are no surprise to anybody working in the NHS at the moment. The question is, what do we do about it?
And the answer is?
Well, the answer is, some of it's found in the report, which I think is a helpful dose of reality around the challenges that face us over the next 5 years. We've been saying for some time that this is the biggest challenge for a generation in terms of thinking about the ways in which we deliver care for people in this country through the NHS and the social care system. So there are some great things in the report about let's plan over a medium-term period rather than from year to year. Let's make sure...
And by medium you mean what, 5 years?
3 to 5 years. So on Friday, we're about to have unveiled what the planning guidance for the health service will be next year and beyond. And what we need to do is stabilise finances in providers next year and provide some additional resources through a transformation fund to make change start to happen, because an effective and efficient health service requires us to...
So are you saying that the money is there, it's just not being used properly?
Well, what I'm saying is that we're clearly, if you look at the report in detail, providers have been, their financial position's probably been getting worse by...
Hospitals, you mean?
Hospitals, yeah. By just over $1 billion a year. So when they're in surplus, they could cope with that. They started to go into deficit, and that deficit gets worse. That effectively means we need to spend money on things like prevention, targeted care for older people outside
Prevention of what? Oh,
hospital.
you mean stop people getting ill rather than treat them once they got ill? Yeah,
let's
but that's obvious, isn't it?
It is obvious, but the system at the moment doesn't do that well. And that's partly to do with the way that we manage risk across the health and care system in terms of money. And that's partly to do with short-term horizons. And it's partly to do with what the report says about the way that national bodies work with NHS hospitals and what they ask of them. And some of that being conflicting, some of it being burdensome, and some of it stopping us from doing the right thing.
Right, so just in a few seconds over here, we're just about out of time, as you know. We're not talking about the NHS falling apart, about hospitals falling apart. We're talking about measures that can and should be taken, and they are practical.
Practical steps that need to start immediately to change the way in which we deliver health and care. Some of that's about money next year. More of it is about the way we transform care. The thing that I think will get in the way, we've got a fighting chance of sorting this out, unless we fund social care, which is so important for older people, in the same way that we're building funds for the NHS. We won't have a fighting chance, we'll fail.
Rob Webster, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.